Greetings, students. Welcome to the fifth video of this Alkanol series. In the last video, we discussed IUPAC nomenclature for alkanols. And then I taught you how to name structures of alkanols when they are given and how to draw them when you are given the names to draw them. So what we are going to talk about today is types of alkanols and probably classes of alkanols. But let's start with types. I've made a short writing here, but I will explain. Now, we have three types of alkanols. We have primary alkanols, we have secondary alkanols, and we have tertiary alkanols. So please pay very good attention so that you'll be able to understand what each one means in full details and how to give examples. Now, look at this. It says, in a primary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group, remember this OH is hydroxyl group, has two hydrogen atoms and one alkyl group. Let me explain. Look at this example here. Propan 1-ol. Let us draw the structure of propan 1-ol so that we will explain this information, this right up here. What is prop from the last class I gave you? Prop means 3. So let us do prop first, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we fill the bonds the way I taught you. Now, 1-ol, like I explained, means that the OH is on carbon number 1. So I fix it. Let's number from here. 1, 2, 3. I told you can number from any side, but let's number from here. 1, 2, 3. So carbon number 1, I fix OH here. Are we following? Then the remaining hydrogen atoms, the remaining bonds will be filled with hydrogen atoms. This is propan 1-ol. Now let me now use this to explain this so that you can have an understanding. It says, in a primary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group has two hydrogen atoms. Now let us look at the carbon. You can see the carbon atom that has the OH group. Can you see it? It has two hydrogen atoms. Are you seeing it now? It says that and one alkyl group. So alkyl simply means carbon or carbon chains. I take note what I said. Alkyl means carbon or carbon chains. So the carbon atom that has the OH group has two hydrogen atoms and one alkyl group. So it's bonded to one alkyl group. Alkyl means carbon or carbon chains. Take note. So the carbon atom with the OH group has two hydrogen atoms and one alkyl group. You see it now? Very important. Let me summarize it. Anytime you hear 1-ol, maybe propan 1-ol, butan 1-ol, pentan 1-ol, anything 1-ol, that is a primary alkanol. I believe that has explained it very well. Now, let's go to secondary alkanols. It says, in a secondary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group has one hydrogen atom and two alkyl groups, e.g. propan 2-ol. Let me explain it. Let us draw the structure of propan 2-ol. Remember that propan is 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. You see that? Carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3. So we have propan 2-ol, meaning that the ol, which is the OH, will belong to carbon number 2. So I put it here. Are we together? The rest of the bonds will now be occupied by hydrogen. Now let's look at this. The carbon atom that has the OH group has one hydrogen atom and two alkyl groups. The carbon atom with the OH group has one hydrogen atom on it and two alkyl groups, that is two carbon atoms. Remember, that makes it a secondary alkanol. In other words, anything other than one ol is a secondary alkanol. So propan 2 ol, propan pentan 3 ol, but there's an exception. It's not always like that, but one ol, anything one ol is primary alkanol. Secondary alkanol it is 2 ol, 3 ol, 4 ol, as case may be. Okay, but the carbon atom that has the OH must have one hydrogen atom and two alkyl groups. Remember what I said? That is for secondary alkanol. Okay, so anything 2 ol is secondary alkanol, provided the carbon atom with the OH group has one hydrogen atom. Take note of that. Then we have the last one, which is tertiary alkanol. Now, in a tertiary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group has three alkyl groups. Listen very carefully. So it says, in a tertiary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group has three alkyl groups. Remember that an alkyl group is carbon or a chain of carbon atoms. So now let's see an example, e.g. e.g. 2-methyl propan 2-methyl propan 2 ol. Let's look at this. Let's try to draw it. Propan is what? 3, as I gave you. So I fill the bonds. Okay. Now I have 2 methyls, carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3. So I have 2 methyl. Remember that methyl is CH3, don't forget. So 2 methyl means I put methyl on carbon number 2. So I have CH3. Are we good? CH3 on carbon number 2 because of 2 methyl. Remember that CH3 is methyl. Then propan 2 ol means the OH is on carbon number 2. So I put it in. Okay. Now the rest will be hydrogen. What does this tell us? Look at the carbon atom that has the OH group. It has three carbon atoms. Carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3. Look away from this hydrogen. You look at this, anytime carbon and hydrogen are together, you're looking at the carbon. So it has carbon, carbon, carbon. 3 alkyl groups. Take note of that. Okay, so the carbon atom that has OH group has 3 alkyl groups. That makes it a tertiary alkanol. So how do you differentiate a tertiary alkanol and the secondary alkanol? In a secondary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group has 1 hydrogen atom. Check the other example. Then in a tertiary alkanol, the carbon atom with the OH group does not have any hydrogen at all. So I can even add it here. 3 alkyl groups and no hydrogen atom. That's a tertiary alkanol. I hope you'll be able to differentiate between a primary alkanol, secondary alkanol, and tertiary alkanol. Remember, primary alkanol 1 ol, 1 ol, 1 ol. Okay. Secondary alkanols 2 ol or 3 ol. Anything other than 1 ol. But the carbon atom that has OH group must have 1 hydrogen atom. Take note. Then tertiary alkanols the carbon atom with the OH group does not have any hydrogen atom at all. Rather, it has 3 alkyl groups. Take note of that. Then, finally, in this video, I want us to quickly discuss classes of alkanols. Now, let's quickly talk about classes of alkanols. We have 4 classes of alkanols. We have monohydric alkanols, let me explain them one by one. Monohydric alkanols, they have 1 OH group. I'll be very simple about that. So they have 1 OH group. They have 1 OH group, e.g. propan 1-or. Somebody will say that I like using propan too much, or propan 1-or. Well, all of them are examples. So anything 1-or is a monohydric alkanol. Mono means 1. Okay, so take note of that. Then we have dihydric alkanols. For dihydric alkanols, they have 2 OH groups. Okay, e.g. propan. Okay, let me now change this time around. Butan 1,2-diol. Let's even draw the structure of butan 1,2-diol. So anything diol is a dihydric alkanol. Take note of that. Let's draw the structure. What is butan? 4. So fill the bonds. Then 1,2-diol means I have OH here on number 1, and I have OH on number 2. Then the rest of the bonds should be hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. So this is it. So anything diol means dihydric alcohol. So take note of that. Then the third one is trihydric alkanols. Trihydric alkanols have 3 OH groups, e.g. propan 1,2,3-triol, or let us even change it to pentan 1,2,3-triol. Let me use pentan 1,2,3-triol. Let's draw it. What is pent? 5. So 1,2,3-triol, put OH on number 1, OH on number 2, OH on number 3, numbering from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the rest will now be hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. See that? So that is pentan 1,2,3-triol. Then the last but not the least, is polyhydric alkanols. For polyhydric alkanols, they have more than 3 OH groups. They have more than what? 3 OH groups, e.g. pentan 1, 2, 3, 4 tetra or. So in chemistry, the word tetra means 4. Take note of that, okay? So that brings us the end of this particular video. Remember, we have discussed types of alkanols and what classes of alkanols. Take note of that. In the next video, we are going to be discussing general properties of alkanols. Please, if you are watching us from YouTube, kindly help us click on the subscribe button and then turn on notifications so that if we post the next video, you will be notified. Okay, and try to practice. Go to your textbooks, solve examples, solve exercises so that I can get better. Okay, thank you very much.